Welcome to Doctor on Call with your host, DocGriffon. The doctor will be with you momentarily. Our guest this evening is musical vocalist and Whale Gang supporter, Pinky Salmon. In accordance with the recent Cinco de Mayo celebration and National Fire Safety Awareness Week, Doctor on Call asks viewers to extinguish all flaming drinks during the show. Doc Griffin, paging Doc Griffin, you're needed in the OR. Stat.
And thank you very much, Nurse Mr. LM002. Tonight, I think tonight's going to be a fun night. This is somebody that I've wanted to talk to because, as people already know, I have a little bit of a singing fetish, more so a karaoke fetish. But our guest tonight is a songstress that a lot of you might have gotten to know through the Gulf City brand. Without any further ado, let me go ahead and welcome in Pinky Salmon. How are you this evening?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I have no complaints.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, I have a wife, so she's already taught me that complaining's not going to do me any good. Yeah.
Right, nobody will hear it anyway.
It's the tree falling in the forest with no one around. Now, you know what? Honestly, I'd like to start off on the right foot, just by sampling you out to the people listening right now. Are you good with that? Okay.
By all means, go
Here's
for
a little tune called "Why Don't You Do Right."
You had plenty money, 1922. You let other women make a fool of you. Why don't you do right? Like some other men do. Get out of here, get me some money too. You're sitting down wondering what it's all about. If you ain't got no money, they will put you out. Why don't you do right? Like some other men do. Get out of here, get me some money too. Now if you had prepared 20 years ago, you wouldn't be wandering now from door to door. Why don't you do right? Like some other men do. Get out of here, get me some money too. Get out of here, get me some money too. Why don't you do right? Like some other men do.
And there you go. A little Jessica Rabbity, but that's quite okay. You gotta like those songs. And I know we'll get into talking about torch songs a little bit later, but I'm always curious where everything starts. So I was gonna make a guess by the accent, just a little bit more down south in the States. Did you grow up in a rural, urban, suburban area? Uh-oh. I think you're on mute, Pinky. Nope,
Still
I can hear you.
nothing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Uh-oh. She might need to drop out and come back in. I don't know what it is going on with these bloody YouTubes, but we have been having some difficulties with being able to stream correctly, shall we say. And so it's just one of those speed bumps that we're going to try to get over. Okay,
I can
great.
actually hear you this time.
Now, I was saying that you sound like you have a little bit of a southern draw.
I am
Okay.
from the South, yes.
Now, when you were growing up, was it urban, suburban, rural?
I grew up in a trailer park just outside of the main, we were like a mile away from the Air Force Base. So, I could walk down to the swimming pool.
Wait a
if I
minute,
wanted.
were you a brat?
Close. Oh, yeah. Dad was
okay.
in 23 years.
Gotcha. So I'm going to guess that it was a two-parent household. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Where did your sensibilities come from? More your mom, dad, or a combination?
I think it's more out of rebellion to the cognitive dissonance of both. Yeah. I mean, because my dad was a total hedonist. He was analytical and brilliant, and my mom was a religious flake. And, so there was always this weird dichotomy of information going on.
How does that come together when, you go to mom and you ask her the same question that you asked to dad? Whose advice did you usually end up following?
Well, I usually would talk to them, and then I'd talk to someone else that I knew, another grown-up that I knew, and I'd take all three of those into consideration, do a little research, and then make a decision. That's usually how it worked. Because, you can't totally trust any one side of anything, so you have to go and look for more information.
So, kind of, okay, you're getting both ends of the spectrum in your young opinion. Let's find somebody in the middle to see if they can mediate where you need to go.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. Was it, did you have siblings?
I did. I have 3 older step siblings, and I have a younger sister who I love dearly. She's amazing.
Now, who did you have a tendency to try to pal up with? The younger or the older?
Oh, the baby sister, because the older ones were all pretty much out of the house by the time we got there. So
okay, but so where did your musical influences come from?
My dad really loved music. He had a huge record collection, and so we got to listen to a wide variety of tunes. And he also had this love for all things Time Life and Reader's Digest. So we had the Big American Songbook from Reader's Digest, and me and my sister would just go through and pick out songs and sing together.
I remember those well. I remember the last company that actually did it was like Entertainment Weekly. They would send you out a double disc set of the sounds of the 70s.
Right?
Can you think of what your parents liked to listen to? What their favorite bands were?
My dad liked classical music primarily, but he had the Beatles, he had Pink Floyd, he had Zeppelin, he had Billie Holiday, and he had all kinds of Luciano Pavarotti. We had all kinds of stuff in the house to listen to. So he just was really eclectic, and he liked a bunch of things. But
At a
classical
young
was his
age, did
go-to.
you find anything that you were gravitating towards?
I've always liked classical music myself. But when I sing, I want to sing jazz or
Which
blues or
now
lounge.
falls to me with a question I've been plagued with for most of my life. I could not figure out how to play an instrument.
I can't play either. I tried to learn, and I just never could
Yeah,
get
it
the hang
wasn't
of it.
until I got into my mid-20s where they said, "Well, yeah, you can play an instrument. Your voice is your instrument." When did you learn it?
Yeah. I've been singing since as long as I can remember. I mean, my mother had a horrible voice, but my grandmother's voice was brilliant. And she used to sing to us when we go visit, which wasn't very often. And so I used to always try to sing the songs that she sang. And her favorite was Summertime, which I've covered. And I just really love the song. It always kind of sticks with me the
Are
way
we
she
talking about
sang
the
it.
one from Porgy and Bess? Okay.
Exactly
Yeah.
that one.
And we can get into this a little bit later, but yeah, the musical stuff is pretty awesome.
I love musicals. I don't get to see enough.
Now you're going through school, and of course, I do ask people
No?
about this because it's one of those, because when you get to second grade, they try to do that profile test on you. Well, what do you want to be when you grow up? What was your answer around that age?
I had a huge desire to be a writer, and I scored really high. We could read by the time we cut all our teeth. And so, we weren't reading lightweight stuff. We were reading The Naked Ape and Shakespeare and Nietzsche and stuff. So, because my mom said, you either do the chores or you read to me while I do the chores. And so we always picked reading. And so the reading and writing thing got to be my deal. It was what I was really good at.
How does that translate? Because I know both writing and music are an art. Did one bleed over into the other or inspire the other for you?
Well, since I did them both concurrently, and I also do art, like painting and stuff too. So, they all kind of ran together in a pack. And so they all just influenced one another. My writing comes into play when I write an original song. I sing, and sometimes I'll listen to my songs while I draw or paint to kind of help reinforce whatever it is I'm working on. So, yeah, they all just kind of inform each other.
As you were going through school and progressing, I know when it comes to artistic people, it ends up to be, when you're a kid, it's more of a shotgun blast. I mean, pellets just go everywhere. Was there a time you can think back to when focus came into your life? Like, this is what I like to do, but this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I like so many things to do. I don't really want to do any of them for a long period of time. I just want to try a bunch of different stuff. And so I spent a lot of my young years doing just that. We ran the streets when we were kids because the parents were sometimes just not even available, And so me and my baby sister would run around together, and we did all kinds of fun stuff. So we already had a pretty clear idea of what we liked and what we didn't like by the time we were about 7 and 5, because we just did that.
I did not presume your age at all. I'm definitely guessing that you're younger than I am.
Yes,
I'm in my
probably.
mid-50s, so.
Yeah, so I'm just going to turn 50 tomorrow.
It's your birthday tomorrow. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I made it to 50.
Isn't it funny when you're a kid, the number 50 seems so large. And then
Yeah.
when you get to it, you're kind of looking back and saying, wow, a lot of stuff happened. How much more is going to happen now that I've got the wisdom?
Right.
Yeah.
And can I handle it? I've been through a lot of tough stuff, but facing down the downhill slope of the hill is really kind of unnerving a little
Well,
bit.
the average age right now is what, mid-70s? So I
Yeah.
think you're padded to be able to say, okay, I know what I like, I know what I don't like, and I've got a third of my life to be able to flourish and do what I like and do what I love.
Yeah. I try to think of it in that positive way. I don't always manage, but
Well, and let's also, I will agree with Victor Rand in the chat. You certainly do not sound anywhere close to your age.
I don't look as old as I am
Yeah, I
either,
bet
just to
hubby's
let you
glad
know.
about that.
Yeah, people always accuse me of being in my mid-30s, and I'm just like, well, I look great, got great curb appeal, but structurally I suck. You don't want to live here.
And I would say vocally, yeah, I could see you mid to late 30s. But
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of voices, so I've been fooled many times before. But yeah, there's kind of a nice soothing quality. I will say this right up front. I was not firing on all cylinders when I think it was Golf City or Krill Radio played you first, and I'll be honest, I did not get it. I can't tell you what the song was, but
It was probably Tail of the Whale, which is the one they played the most of mine.
it might have been, but prove me wrong. It was on the top of the charts for many weeks.
Yeah. 13
you know what?
weeks.
That's as long as Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" was at the top of the charts. So that's impressive.
That's amazing.
But now, before we get into the YouTubery of it, when you got out of high school, were you focused towards the arts, or it's like, okay, real world time, I got to get a job because everybody's saying I got to get a job?
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with the transition into adulthood. I felt like I got cheated out of a childhood in some ways, and so, I
hear
had a
that
hard time moving on to that.
brats.
But eventually, yeah, it just being a military kid is tough, and it draws a certain kind of people sometimes that are not as savory as they might be. Otherwise, they're brilliant, have lots of cool interests, are talented or whatever, but there's that one little evil thing inside them, that they miss with tests somehow. And so, it draws sometimes that kind of crowd too. And I've seen a lot of shit there with airmen and whatever that were less than savory.
I will say this definitely from the military brats that I've known. Either they completely have their shit together, or they're completely flying off the centrifuge. There's usually no middle ground. Either you're set for adult life,
right,
or no ability to handle adult life. And you sound definitely more the former than the latter.
Yeah. I still, people ask me, well, what did you want to be when you grew up? And I said, nothing. I never wanted to be anything special. I just wanted to write my little stories and play my little songs and do my little pictures and just be happy. I didn't feel the need to be ambitious in a forward kind of improve everybody else's life kind of way. That came later, but I just wanted to do the things I do and just be left alone to do them.
And honestly, yeah, I've met and I've spoken with a lot of people that are in their teens and their 20s, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. When I was a kid, it was all, the only thing I don't want to do is be stuck in a factory job working a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life. And now
Right.
that's all I crave, because I understand that it's, you get the work, you make the money, and then you have that little bit of time off to be able to inspire your happiness. Now, you were talking about how
Yeah.
you did art and you did music. Um, is one overshadowing more than the other when you're at that point?
It it happens in cycles. Like there'll be times when like right now, for the last year, I've done more music than I normally do, but I haven't written anything, as far as any fiction or nonfiction stuff. And, and I don't paint as much when I'm singing. So, it kind of just happens in chunks where I'll go 2 or 3 years and this is all I'll do. And then I'll go 2 or 3 years and this other thing is all I'll
That's
do.
completely understandable. What's your writing genre? The one that you favor most?
I like post-apocalyptic stuff. If I'm reading or writing, that's what I want to do. Fantasy kind of stuff. But if I'm reading for pleasure, just to read, I want to read like biographies and history and nonfiction stuff.
I have to say this right now. I'm okay with the post-apocalyptic thing, but if you would have mentioned Game of Thrones, I would have had to have ended the interview right here and now. Neither
I have not watched one episode.
It's just
not one.
No, I know
I don't see the appeal.
What type of writer George R.R. Martin is, and yeah, he's a dickhead too.
Jerk.
I've met him once. But yeah, he's a bad writer because he basically is just like, okay, you guys really like this character, I'm killing it, and I'm like, okay, that basically inspires hate watching. When it comes down to the end of it, he's going to end up just like Robert Jordan and be a footnote in history and not something that people are going to refer to when they're teaching college literature.
He will never achieve the greatness that is Tolkien.
See, now,
I don't care
have
what he
problems
does.
with Tolkien too, because it's just like, okay, get to the point. Over the hills, through the woods, past the mountains, into the Shire. I'm like, oh God. I understand. I respect him because he created a world. My favorite's more Frank Herbert.
Now, see, I like that too, and I like Philip K. Dick, and I like Cthulhu stuff sometimes if I'm in the mood.
Yeah, I mean and I think that goes back to the artistry, because instead of a lot of people who are very creative and very artistic buck the mainstream. You find your inspiration in different places. Now, I know you do a lot of cover work. Have you done any as far as I'm going to write this song?
I have done about half dozen original songs, but I've only released 2 of them. So, I just kind of, I feel like those are the best ones. And I have another one I'm trying to pin a guitarist down for, and maybe I'll put that one out too. But one of my things on my bucket list was to put out an album of some sort or another, and I kind of have done that now. So.
Now, of course, I know you'll always run into copyright issues when you're doing a cover song. Have you ever thought about going to, or I don't know if you have or not, because we haven't jumped into this. Have you ever thought about publishing, like just on Amazon? Putting together 8-10 songs?
No.
Would you though?
No.
Because I know, see, and I'm going to say this because my audience is vast and eclectic. But there's a certain amount of debilitating, crippling fear when it comes to putting yourself out there. It's just like, the number one fear usually is public speaking over death.
Yeah. I like public speaking, actually. I'm weird like that. But no, my whole point of creating and doing is to help other people find themselves in images and songs and writing that I've done. I want them to discover themselves through me, in a way. You know what I mean? Because that's how I discovered myself, was through writers and artists and, other things like that. And I just want to give back the things I've been given. And I have no desire to be famous and no desire to get paid for this. The only reason I need any money on my Patreon is so I can, my PayPal is so I can buy more songs.
And since we're at the bottom of the hour, let me just make sure those of you who don't know Pinky, down there is, down in the descriptor, her links appear. There's her Twitter, the YouTube, the PayPal. She's on Gab as well. And if you want to hook up with the evil Discord, I'm just simply not a Discord fan, but yeah.
I like Discord.
And I think this is a thing that we can talk about a little bit later, since we're similar to age, as far as technology goes. But when you were coming up, and there were legitimately no internets, or nothing to speak of besides the hum and the buzz of a 56K modem for AOL. Where did you get your creative release?
Well, I have performed in many different venues for many different reasons. I was in church for a while, so I sang in the praise group and wrote songs for that. And I spent some time with a self-help group, and I sang for their events, and just here and there, this and that, just sing to sing sometimes.
I mean, back in the 90s, it was very hard to express yourself or to get it out. Did you get any sense of satisfaction with what you were doing?
Oh, I'm always satisfied with what I'm doing. I take it as a personal joy and a pleasure to do what I want to do. I'm blessed in that sense, that I have someone who takes care of me, and I can explore and do all I want to, pretty much.
That is such a blessing. There's not a lot of people who can actually say that they're supported in what they do.
Oh yeah, he's behind me 100%. I mean, if there's anything I want to try, he's like, okay, let's give it a try. If there's anything I want to do, he's like, yeah, how'd the show go last night, or how did the thing do? So.
Well, what do you think about?
He's 100% on my side.
Hour? How about we play Criminal? Let me go ahead.
Okay.
Take this.
I've been a bad, bad girl. I've been careless with a delicate man. It's a sad, sad world when a girl will break a boy just because she can. Now don't you tell me to deny it, 'cause I've done what I want to, suffer for my sins. I've come to you 'cause I need guidance to be true, but I don't know just where I should begin. What I need is a good defense, 'cause I'm feeling like a criminal, and I need to be redeemed to the one I've sinned against, 'cause he's all I ever knew of love. deeds before I get them done. I know tomorrow brings a consequence at hand, but I keep living this day like tomorrow's never gonna come. Help me, but don't tell me to deny it. I gotta cleanse myself of all these lies that I'm good enough for him. I've got a lot to lose and I'm building high, so I'm begging you before it ends, just let me know where it begins. Oh no, what I need is a good defense, 'cause I'm feeling like a criminal. And I need to be redeemed to the one I've sinned against, 'cause he's all I ever knew was love, 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 love. Let me know the way before there's hell to pay. Give me some room to live alone. Let me go. I gotta make a play to make my lover stay. What would an angel say? The devil wants to know. The devil wants to know. What I need is a good defense, 'cause I'm feeling like a bad, bad girl. And I need to be redeemed to the one I've sinned against, 'cause he's all I ever knew. All I ever knew. All I ever knew. Of love.
A little bit of torch song.
I love this.
Now, I
Well,
was going to say you've gotten to the point where you can pick your music, but I'm interested because the versions that you seem to pick are more based on cabaret style. I'm thinking that's a conscious choice.
I really like the voice work you can do in one of those. I'm not as young as I used to be, and so the voice is not completely on tune all the time. So I can play around a little bit with that kind of stuff, and I like the belting out of things too. That's always fun. Once I can get that feeling under me, and I can lift that sound way
now,
up.
I do have to ask, and
I
I will say to the audience for right now, if you have questions for Pinky, we're going to be fielding those at the top of the hour. So please feel free and have those ready. So you've performed with bands? Oh, have you done karaoke?
Never.
Really?
Nope. I don't sing in public. I mean, not anymore, because I always get so nervous to sing in front of people that I have to throw up first or immediately after I sing. It's the way it's always been with me. I mean, if I'm goofing around with my sisters or whatever, that's one thing, but we don't do that live in the bar or something.
Personally, I've always been a fan of it because it's like somebody just plugged you into 220. It's
Yeah.
performing live is definitely a live wire kind of thing, and I find it to be an essential component. Do you have any inkling or want to maybe test the water with it? Really?
Oh no. People might like it too much. No.
I've just always been a fan, and the live performance aspect of it. You were talking about You know, maybe a note might go astray, but it's the live performance aspect is definitely a high that I don't think can be duplicated anywhere.
Well, and I have performed live. The anxiety about it
Really?
beats any gratification I
Now,
get.
I'm going to have to deep
Yeah.
dive on this. Why do you think that is?
I have this deep need not to be seen, to hide from everything. So, maybe it's
but
related
really,
to that.
if you are autistic, not autistic, artistic. If you are artistic and you do things well, it's more of, Christmas came early. Here's my gift.
Right.
Not that I.
And I still do that. I just do it online where I can pre-record everything. Most of my songs are done in one take. So it's not like I couldn't do it. It's just something about the distraction of people makes it really hard
it's
for me.
funny because I can only relate to my personal experience, and you have a tendency to zone out. And I have had people tell me that performing in front of people or public speaking is completely and totally terrifying. But then there's that other place where the switch flips and you are legitimately making a joyful noise. And you...
Oh, when I get that too, but it doesn't, the feeling of it doesn't outweigh the anxiety.
Do you think that's something conquerable?
Yeah. I don't really care. I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and if at some point I decide I want to go live and do karaoke in the bars or something,
Gotcha.
I'll deal with it then.
Well, if you ever come around to my neck of the woods, I would probably drag you out to a karaoke bar.
Well, a couple of drinks and I might be into it, so you never know.
Well,
I just am not a big clubber.
That's the awesomeness
I've never been
of
into that,
karaoke,
so.
because 9 out of 10 times it comes with alcohol. And
Right?
It's the old cliche. There's liquid courage in that bottle. Let me ask this, because a lot of people have a tendency to give me some crap, but I've always felt that doing a shot before I do a song is legitimately vocal lubrication. Do you go through any special steps before you cut a track?
More often than not, I do best in the mornings. So I usually record in the morning. I once I get all the phlegm cleared out of my lungs from the night before, my voice is in pretty good form, and I usually do that then. I have never been in a live situation where I had to take a drink beforehand. I was a Christian part of that time, and I was, doing other things that wasn't available to me as a dose of courage. But I do sometimes, if I have done like 8 or 9 songs in a row in one day, my voice gets a little crunchy, and I need to have a little alcohol to kind of soothe my throat a little bit and smooth out the notes.
I basically justify my alcoholism at karaoke that I'm only allowed to do a shot before I do a song. So it depends on how many songs I get the chance to do as to how many shots that I get to do. But yeah, I've always found more than like tea and honey. I've always found that alcoholism is a better throat coat.
Well, I do the tea and honey thing too. I mean, I have a particular recipe for the tea that I use when I'm doing a lot of singing. It's got a little bit of clove and a little bit of peppermint. It doesn't taste that great, but it makes everything work right. So, a little honey, preferably something like just single flower honey. That's always the best. And nice hot water, a little bit of lemon.
Whatever somebody needs. I mean, I did a I did a musical once where the person, when they weren't on stage, had a hot towel wrap around their throat the whole time. And I was just like, God, that seems like a lot of work.
Well, it depends on how much you love what you do and how much you want it to be good. I mean, you take the steps you need to take to be a good computer programmer. Why not a good singer? And alcohol is great, except that I can't, drink a lot. 3 drinks in and I'm passed out. I'm just not a heavy drinker. And, I mean, I used to be, but at this point in my life, I can't afford to be. I'm diabetic. There's no way. I just have to
drink
be
in
real
defiance
careful
of
if I'm
my
going to drink.
diabetes.
I don't want this to be the thing that kills me. It feels like I'm going out bitch made.
I honestly
if
just want to know the
me.
face of my murderer. So I'm completely okay with alcohol and cigarettes. But let me ask, because normally there's always a component of ham that goes along with performance art. And music definitively is performance art.
Yeah.
What would you say your percentage of ham is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably about 40%. I mean, because when I'm singing by myself, I'm the most confident. And so I push it a little bit sometimes. And so that comes out in what other people get to hear later, So, and I do read all the comments when my songs come up on the radio, on the Krill, and that. So I kind of like the comments because they're funny, and some people just throw their underwear at me, and
I'll be
it's
honest
hilarious.
with you. I think there has to be some component of ham to do this, and I've had people say, "Well, like I'm a writer first and foremost, and I will spend time. I'll go back like every 6 months of something that I put up on YouTube or some audio adaptation that's been done of my work. And I will go back and I will read all the new comments. And they're like, well, that's kind of egotistical.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, you want to know where you're sitting. I mean, it's like a thermometer for how you're
I cannot
how you're
disagree.
doing.
I mean, and I really hate to use the word fan or fandom, but how do you feel about getting a bad review as opposed to getting a good review? What type of usefulness does that have in your brain?
Well, of course, you get the clicky satisfaction out of a comment that you like, but the comments that are, I've only ever had one, and it could be a little bouncier, and so I made an effort to try and make that happen. I didn't take it personally as an assault on my ability. I just thought, well, I can see that. Let's try it a little faster and see how it goes. And because I do tend to sing slow. Because I really dig that sound. And so, I take it as constructive criticism. I know that there are people in my circle of friends who cannot stand my music. And I'm just like, okay, everybody has their level. We all do what we like to do the most, and you do you.
Well,
that's how I feel
honestly,
about it. I don't take it personally.
If you're being creative, which I will put music, whether it's playing an instrument that is, woodwind or brass or strings, or using the instrument that is your voice. There's a certain amount of creativity that goes to it, and that people will love or they will hate. Now, in your opinion, is it better to be loved, hated, or just basically lukewarm when you get the reviews?
Well, it's always better to be loved. I mean, come on. but as far as lukewarm responses, I get a lot of those, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I don't have a big head about it, so it doesn't really bother me either way. And I take the bad ones as criticism, and if they don't have anything important to say, I ignore them as trolls and don't bother to feed them.
No, I can certainly understand that. The word I hate the most is meh, because that
I
tells you nothing
all the time. I understand. No, it tells you nothing except I'm bored with this, or this is mediocre, and I'm used to being called that, so I don't care.
Let's talk a little bit about how you got hooked up into such a brilliant community. Because I will say right up front, one of the best communities that's and you guys can knock me down later and hit me with a meh because I use the word community, but how you got hooked into the Gulf City experience.
Gulf City. I was introduced to it. I was just doing, the rounds on the internet looking for something new to watch, and somebody suggested White Supremacy, and so I went and watched the cartoon, and the first episode had me hooked. I was like, I am so down for this. And it was funnier and more original than anything I had seen lately. And I am a cartoon connoisseur, trust me. My movie crew will tell you that I love my tunes. And I felt like there was something real about Ghastly and AP's interaction with each other that went beyond just performance. And it just seemed... the vision that Justin has about White Supremacy and Gulf City is so illuminating for me creatively that I shill it and support it and shout it and share it and wear it and do all the things for it because I love that. And our community of people that watch are all pretty laid back folks. You have the odd troll, but you always have those. They're
sure.
They're like the dogs at the edge of the pack of gazelle.
Now, was this an opportunity to where you came to them and said, "Hey, I did this. What do you think?"
No, it really just started out as a major fandom. I was so sold on Gov City. I would make things for Ghastly, little memes, or, I'd write a parody and send it to him, and he'd like it so much he'd want to play it. And so I tried to keep the Gulf City stuff as copyright free as possible. I have had some requests for some songs to redo, and I did them, and they can't be played, and it breaks my heart. But you can always watch them on my channel because
I was going to say the two songs that we played so far, we're probably going to get copyright claimed on them, but it doesn't make a difference because I don't monetize either. Right. I don't see the point in it. YouTube's a dying thing. Well, I just want to ride it until it's done. It seems like you've only started on this journey though, which is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, it's been about a year, and I came in after the apocalypse, so I knew well that the chances of monetizing my stuff was going to be zero, and so I played it hard and went all the way, to do the things I really love.
Creativity has gotten better or worse on the YouTubes by content creators since the apocalypse?
I see people who have decided they don't give a crap, like me. They're like, I'm just going to do what I want to. This is a platform that I can share what I do. And I've seen some people who took it as a personal attack on them, that YouTube's trying to kill my channel and blah, blah, blah. And so they changed their content a little bit to stay a little more ad friendly. And then you have the people in the middle of the road who never really did anything offensive anyway.
That's true. Like, that's kind of like somebody doing Mona Lisa as a paint by numbers.
Yeah. It might look the same when you're done, maybe, but it's not as good if you got to follow the numbers and go step by step by someone else's example just to succeed. I mean, success ought to be something you forge. It's very American to me to go out and adventure and forge and explore. And to me, that's what this kind of thing is all about. You know, I may stick with relatively safe songs, but I have a couple of them in there that are not necessarily PG and or PC for that matter.
Well,
But I
I mean,
don't care. I
that's
just do
about
what I
the
want.
same as a weightlifter who lifts the same weights every week. They don't grow, they don't progress because they don't stretch, they don't push themselves. And yeah, questions are coming up at the top of the hour. What do you think about dropping in Gulf City Blues? Well, let's go ahead and fire that up for the for your fans, for my audience.
I agree with Ortiz. Offensiveness
Listen
should be
close,
hard
y'all.
if
I got
it's
something to say.
toxic.
There's a ghost band in Gulf City, and I ain't seen no ghosts around. There's a ghost band in Gulf City, and Jerome ain't been around, and Sherry can't be found. Now the mayor's got it in his mind that he can keep fried power down, but we can't be stopped. Mayor's got it in his mind that he can take fried power out. Yes, Mayor Eels got it in his mind that he can take fried power out. But if I know Gasly, he'll take the show right underground. You know he's gonna take it underground. Well, those bastards got our signal, trying to shut fried power down. You know those bastards cut our signal, trying to take fried power down. But if I know Gasly, he'll put that armadillo in the ground. You know he will. Let's get entangled and spread that whale's love all around. Spread it all around. Yes, let's all get entangled and spread that whale's love all around, all over town. 'Cause I'll hoot, I'll azim is the way. You can never stop us from going round.
like it. I like it a lot.
We can't be stopped.
And I've got a good story about this one. I was watching the split episode of Fright Power Hour on a Wednesday night when the signal got, cut, when they did that whole gimmick about deleting channels and stuff. And I wrote that song on the fly in one take, and I never went back to change the lyrics, even though I probably should have. But the thing about a blues track like that is they do a lot of repetition, and so to me it's like, why not just take advantage of it? And that's the kind of stuff I like to write.
I was going to ask if you have your choice of genres, you got your backup band in the studio ready to go. What genre are you going to pick?
Well, since we have previously broken it down from, you've got the burlesque style like Criminal, and you've got the blues style like the one you just played. I tend to gravitate towards those two. I like the lounge sound, like Richard Cheese.
I was going to say,
I've got one of those in the show.
Why Not You Do Right was very torchy.
Oh, yeah. And I love that, too. I think part of it depends on the kind of mood my lungs are in that day. And so sometimes I feel real loose and the blues comes easy. And sometimes I have to, really struggle a little bit. And so some of the lounge stuff and some of the faster paced stuff is part of that struggling. And then the torchy stuff is when I feel all gooey. I mean, I have that time of every cycle where I'm just like, yeah, man, life is beautiful. So I just sing the lounge tunes and the
I think
the torchy songs.
I don't know how to express this any other way, but I think there's a simplicity in the music that came 40 years ago. Because the music nowadays has to be built on the hook and not necessarily on the talent of the vocalist. I mean, I don't know if that's an agreeable thing, but do you find yourself looking farther back than looking at current day as far as inspiration or something to cover?
Well, the interesting thing about that is that I have a lot of requests for more modern stuff. So I just yank it back in time with me because that's the music I prefer. And it's fun to watch that unfold for people, oh, wow, that sounds really different like this, or I like this better. And, so, and I'm a huge fan of postmodern.
PMJ. I love
whatever
them.
They call themselves. Jukebox, postmodern jukebox. I love it. Yeah. PMJ is awesome. And so a lot of my tracks come from their work because, who doesn't love
Haley Reinhart?
I mean, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's definitely my favorite one.
Yeah.
That works with PMJ.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a lot of great talent that comes through there, though. She's just
although the clown does freak me out.
She's just really good at what she does. Yeah, Puddles makes me feel kind of sad and uncomfortable.
And not in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Now, as
creepy,
far as it goes,
freaked out way.
Because I think we kind of skipped over this. If you had to consider vocal influences, who would you put in that category?
Billie Holiday, straight up the first thing. I also have a girl crush on Diana Krall. She does lounge stuff, and Bublé. I love Bublé's work, and I'm a big fan of the Rat Pack. You had if you watch musicals from the 40s, that that there's going to be Frankie and Dean and all those guys in, and I love to sing their stuff.
I'm not a fan. There's just something relaxed, something mellow that, yeah.
It's a loose confidence, you know. It's just there's just something great about that feeling.
Yeah, I mean,
and I
and
like to
it's
call
not
that
just
feeling out
because
as
Harry
often as
Connick
I
Jr.
can.
is a Saints fan, but I enjoy him too.
Oh yeah, I like him too. Um, yeah, I didn't really start getting into listening to other people do jazz and lounge stuff until I was about 12 or 13, right about the time I hit puberty. And so for me, that's got a special place. And then, of course, I'm an 80s kid, so the 80s music, you know, influences me a little bit. And I do covers of 80s stuff all the time, just because I
Well,
really
yeah,
like
you've
it.
got you've
You know,
got to
those
have
are
a
where all my good
foundation. You've got
memories
to
are.
have
It's
something influential that inspires you to create. Um, and I'm going to try to get the chat talking, not talking about pills. Yeah. So now's
I
the
know they're
time,
like going crazy
ladies and
about pills
gentlemen,
over here.
that if you would like to load in your questions for Pinky Salmon, please go ahead, drop them in the chat. We'll ask them as they come. Now, if there's, I'll tell you what, let's go to the flip side. Let's go to the darker side. Is there any type of music that you find to be a detractant or essentially something that they could stop that trend and bury it 6 feet deep?
I really, really don't like death metal and emo shit. I really don't like those two genres because the emo stuff is like it to me it's all whiny, crazy, bitchy stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I had to buy a heater for thighs. It's disgusting, and I hate it. And you know, so I mean, I've been known to do some stuff, but I draw the line about Slipknot. That's
Well,
about where I stopped listening.
I have to say
You know, so
the music that I really didn't enjoy was angry white boy rap.
oh yeah, I don't even listen to rap for the most part. I mean, unless it's funny, I don't
Oh,
care.
I'm okay.
Rap
Not when
ought to
it
be
goes
funny, in
too
my
far
opinion.
ghetto, though.
Yeah, when you start talking about popping a cap in someone's ass or raping a
Well, I
bitch or
like
something,
I
I'm
like
out.
Wu-Tang,
You can
but
have that. I don't need that
I don't
shit.
like how they drop the N-bomb like it's the most convenient word ever. I'm like, you guys are creative. Be more creative than just dropping that. I think there's a cultural difficulty with that as well. Now, this is an answer if you want to. Alex Martin, Gulf City Overwatch, is asking, "Where are you from? I represent Tennessee." That's
Arkansas,
not necessarily
baby.
a bad thing.
I'm your neighbor.
You got a little of a Magog running around close to you too.
Nope. Yeah. There are a lot of us over here in Arkansas. We're
Alabama
hiding
before
out.
you talk about irate and newsy.
Right. Butcher
Here's a great
babies.
question
Got it.
from
I'll take a look.
Jack T. Ripper. Before getting involved with Gulf City, was there another route of creativity you were exploring with your channel?
You know, I have some space videos on my channel, some animations that one of our guys did for a show we were talking about redoing, and I have since left the project. But yeah, that was something I really thought I might like to do for a while, is produce a show. I just don't have the chops. You know, I'm just not experienced enough at that kind of thing.
I tell you what, let's set music aside. Let's set writing aside. What field of interest? If you were starting up a YouTube channel, you had unlimited resources, you had unlimited ability to produce. What field or genre fascinates you the most? Okay.
History. I would do history videos. Like the daily life of, kind of stuff. I really am interested in what people like me do in the past more than I do kings and warlords.
Now, is it more based
because I'm not
on
one of those people.
the socialization through history? Because you said it's not necessarily a a combat war thing.
Yeah. And for me, I like to see how human beings behave and evolve through time. And the truth about it is we don't really. We still do the same circles over and over again. And we rise and we fall just like a breath, and it puts a lot of perspective on life and my view of life.
Okay. You're getting ready to air your first special.
I guess.
What's the topic?
I think I would do the medieval family. I would do like the daily life of the medieval family and how what life was really like for them. I mean, what kind of talk did they have? What kind of slang did the kids use? What sort of food did they eat? What kind of clothes did they wear? And what was the social ranking like for them? Was it really oppressive or hey Ghastly, is it really oppressive? Is it difficult?
By the way,
and how is it different than
right.
now? Could I imagine myself
we've got an
living
overlap
in that
going
time?
on, guys?
And so
we got a technical issue. We're gonna do a quick restart. We'll still stay on the stream. Just give us about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if the hell that is OBS. Looks like everything's going. There we go. Pills dropping into the jar. And before we get into more questions, I just want to let you all know, if you're not if you're not aware of, or if this is your first exposure, please feel free. Go down to the descriptor. In the links down there, you'll find Pinky's Twitter, her YouTube. There's a PayPal down there too, as well as a Gab, and the very evil Discord. So,
the very evil Discord. Well, it's called Discord for a reason.
to be honest with you, I call it Dickord.
Yeah, a lot of people do. It has its problems.
Yeah, just a little bit too much spurgery.
Yeah, a little. They got to go somewhere. They keep running them out of everywhere else.
Yeah, well, that's true. But now, as a singer, you're on a medium that doesn't necessarily lean away or towards what you do. How do you spark your interest?
Honestly, I like a challenge. And so when people bring me a song that I have never heard, I'll listen to it and go, yeah, I know exactly what to do with that. So, that's kind of how I do. And sometimes I'll go through and listen to new stuff because, people are just like, hey, have you heard this genre? I had never heard any Disturbed until I heard Richard Cheese's version of Down with the Sickness. And so I had to go and listen to the song. I did a song for Ghastly I'd never heard, like 4th of July or something. And so I went and listened to it, and I had never experienced it before. Judith was the same way. I'd never heard Judith from Perfect Circle.
Uh-huh.
And, so, I've got to see experience a lot of new music and put my little 2 cents on it.
Now, I pretty much already know the answer to this question, but I do still want to ask it. How important has Golf City been for your visibility?
That would imply that I had the goal of visibility. I mean, I have a small channel, which I like. And, it's not that I don't want more subs. It's just that I'm not looking to be famous or make money out of it. My motivation is completely different. I just want to share.
Well, but
And
don't you
so-
think, though, a pat on the back and a good job is not necessarily a bad reward for what you do?
Oh, no. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I read all the comments, and I love all the cool comments I get. I even like the naughty ones. I don't really care.
I never get naughty comments.
I'll have to leave you one.
Okay, thank you. I know Alex has requested another song. We'll get to that in a couple minutes. Is there something that you would like to share with them as far as tunage?
I don't. I like everything pretty much. I guess you could do one of the kind of 50s type doo-wop songs. I got "Put Your Head on My Shoulder" in my list, which I really liked doing.
Well, we can do that.
Okay, let's see what Jack says. See what does Jack say. Jack says, have you met anyone that you follow on YouTube? No, except for you, Jack, and Rummug. You're the only ones I've actually met in person. And Ghastly, when you moved to season 1, within the back end of production, would you be willing to deal with nonsense like release forms to work with me on any music? Yeah, I could totally do that. I'm part of that. I've been part of that world, so I understand the need for things like that. So yeah.
It's
non-disclosure agreements and waivers and all kinds of stuff. It's part of the business.
Well, yeah, that stuff happens, but I don't necessarily see it as a bad aspect.
Oh no, you got to protect yourself. It's CYA, man. It's just business.
Well, yeah, and with everything happening around, people trying to corporatize every single thing that's being done.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to avoid. And I will say this too. Right now, Pinky's only sitting at 246 subs. So if the 24 people that are watching right now have not subbed, please take the time, jump over. Only takes like 20 seconds. Hit that sub, hit that bell, get it ringing. If you like what you've heard tonight, I will still say, because I'm a teaser showman, the best is still yet to come. Now, is there something that somebody's brought up to you, or that you've taken a look at and said, I like it, but I don't want to do it?
Queen. I love Queen, but I would never put my voice to that.
Not Bohemian Rhapsody.
No. Not that. My favorite song is "Somebody to Love," and I've been asked to sing that on a couple of occasions, and I've refused because I'm not going to touch Queen. Freddie was a god.
Yeah, he was pretty much awesomeness.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just caught up on Justin's.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I understand now. The old guy understands. Jack T. Ripper is suggesting you do Mr. Sandman.
I'm planning on it. I'm just looking for the right track. Sometimes that can be tricky.
Well, and plus, I don't know if you have multi-track capability, though.
Well, I can. I don't harmonize well with myself. I kind of have to have someone else.
Okay. Well,
it's harmony with me.
That's completely understandable. I've had times myself where it's been where I'm overdubbing, and I'm just like, God, man, the guy who sang this before me sucks.
I think that sometimes when I record a track over.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, people who don't sing or don't like play an instrument or do something artistic like that, you are your own worst enemy.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I am harder on my music than any troll could be. You
Not,
know, I really am.
but how do you get over it? How do you get past it?
I let it be what it is and just watch it go out into the world. I'm very zen about the whole thing. You know?
By the way, Cat Mandingo asks, why is she a fish?
This is a good question. I was looking around YouTube thinking about what kind of character I wanted to be on my channel, and there were bears everywhere. And I thought, why are there no fish? Well, the reason there are no fish is because they all get eaten by the bears. So I decided I'd be a magical immortal fish, and then I could be there with the bears and it would be okay.
Nice. See, I did not know the deep lore.
Yep. And I tell you who inspired me to do a channel, and that was Dual Wield and Justin. I mean, I love Gulf City. You guys know I love Gulf City. And we just were talking in a thing about it the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's the reason. I'm a salmon.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of fun how lore becomes very organic.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Metaphorist has been feeding lyrics for a new Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, I've been watching. Write them all down and I'll sing it for you if you want, Metaphorist.
Metaphorist is actually a pretty good musician himself. We featured him just a little while back on the Insomnia Ramble stream, the nighttime insanity that we do.
Yeah. I love that show. I wake up sometimes at your hour and come in and watch.
Oh gosh. Well, I hope it puts you to sleep, because that's the whole point of the Insomnia Ramble stream. But
yeah.
Now, are there people out there that you've heard that are in the community that you'd like to collaborate with?
Oh my God, so many people. There's so much talent out there. Wild Fox and I did Baby It's Cold Outside back in December, and I enjoyed the fuck out of that. And I've got an original song working that I want to duel and T-Tax help on. I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see. And I'd hang out with Metaphors. My biggest problem is I would like to hook up with musicians more than other singers, because somebody sings and it throws me off because I'm not really established in my sense of space where music is concerned. So, I like to play around with music and, tell them, well, make it do this instead. And we'll run with that,
Well, all you have to do is talk to Miles, and he'll put pressure on T-Tac and Dual Wield.
Yeah, I really would love to do something over one of Einstein's beats. I really love his stuff, and Silent Partner, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I like his stuff. I pick his stuff out of the YouTube bin sometimes. I'm always surprised when I see a Silent Partner piece in there, but it's always a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good musicians, especially, I would say, without a doubt, floating around our level. There's a lot of people who just need the chance to be heard.
Yeah.
Now, what happens? Let's say you guys do an original, and it breaks out. It goes viral. What do you do? How do you handle it?
I don't have a contingency plan for that. I have no idea.
Well, I can understand that.
I'd roll with however it was supposed to go, I guess. However it decided to take me, I would go that way. I've really worked myself up into craziness by trying to control everything for a long time in my life. And now that I'm older, I just let destiny drive, because, if my house burned down, I just have a better view of the moon. Okay. I'm just chilled about it.
Yeah. I think that's the thing with creativity, is that you do it and you leave it there.
Yeah. Art's about, this is the collection of things that I picked up on the journey. Here's where I'm going to leave it, and then I'm going to move on to the next thing.
Now, for you, you talked about writing. What would be your next thing?
I don't know. I haven't felt very inspired to write anything lately with all the garbage that's out. Like I said, would more likely do some history stuff, like do children's books for, children's books format for history, history for little kids. Because I think there's some serious discrepancies in what's being taught to what happened. They're trying to rewrite history and memory hole stuff. And so I think that would be my cause, I guess, for my next creative outlet. I've done more jobs than I can even list. So, it's just how it goes.
Now, would you consider it to be a safe haven as far as because politics is a very vast and heavy swinging pendulum?
That is the truth.
Is it something that you just want to say, hey, here's an oasis?
Yeah. I believe that things ought to be entertaining sometimes, because there's so much pressure to be informed and to have an opinion about everything, that sometimes you just want to sit back and listen to somebody else sing something or make something or do something. And, it just is more amusing. I love on the internet to watch people game. I game, but I'd rather watch someone else, because it just, to me, amuses me. And so there you have it.
Well, and since we're at the bottom of the hour, I just want to make sure that everybody knows we need to get some questions in. And also, because I'm not P.T. Barnum, but I'm a promotional machine. So if you have not yet gone to Pinky's YouTube, there's no excuse. It's down in the descriptor. Her Twitter's also there if you'd like to follow her. She's got a PayPal as well. And there is a Gab, and of course the Discord. My other links are there. So if you want to stay in touch with what we do, then certainly all that fun stuff's down there. I also do have, I just wanted to point this out, our prescription for additional entertainment. These are people who run channels that put out great content that you may not necessarily know. There's about a dozen down there. And if you haven't checked in on them, please feel free after the show, or if you're listening to this on replay, then I would encourage you to check these people out. Not a lot of subs, but I don't have a reason why they don't have a lot of subs other than the word's just not getting out. So consider the word put out. From Nurse Wicked, she's saying, if you weren't a singer, what would your second choice of job be? Something like a history teacher or in another field?
I have taught art history, art, math, science, and life skills already. So I don't want to teach anybody anything after this.
So
if I were going to pick another creative outlet, I don't know. It depends on what presents itself. I kind of roll with the punches, and I crocheted for 2 solid years until I gave myself carpal tunnel syndrome, and then I quit, and I haven't picked it up since. It's just, that's the way things happen with me.
Yeah, I can see more of a aesthetic or organic role to what you end up doing. And in that vein, since we are at the bottom, let's go ahead and put some head on shoulders, shall we?
All right.
Put your head on my shoulder, hold me in your arms, baby. Squeeze me oh so tight, show me Put your lips next to mine, dear. Won't you kiss me once, baby?
That's right.
A
You can
kiss
kiss the nose of the little
goodnight,
buffaloes.
maybe. You and I.
Oh, I was just reading the chat.
fall in love.
I don't think they mind if I read the chat.
People say that love is just a game you can't win at all. If there's a way, I'll find it someday, and then this fool will rush in. Put your head on my shoulder, whisper in my ear, baby, words I wanna hear. Tell me that you love me too. Put your head on my shoulder, whisper in my ear, baby, words I wanna hear, baby. Put your head on my shoulder.
Now, I would say smoky, sultry, torch songs. That seems to be a sphere that you definitely have control over.
Not so much with other stuff, but that's the point of singing other stuff, is so you can get good, son.
Oh, I completely understand that. What would you say is a song that you would like to completely stretch out of your comfort zone? A song that just fascinates you, that you're like, yeah, I want to take this on. Pass or fail, I want to try it.
I always kind of wanted to do an epic rap battle, a diss battle. I know that sounds silly, but I always kind of wanted to. I'm a real big fan of epic rap battles of history, and they're putting stuff out again. I'm so excited. I got to see them live with my friends, and it was just a great time.
Well, now, I hate to be a wet blanket on it, but the ERB stuff that's coming out now seems
sort of flat.
Corporate.
Yeah, it kind of does. I
like,
still love them though.
Yeah, like somebody threw money at them, and it's a job at the Burger King now.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem as creative as it is before. Now, do you think when you get years down the road, do you think that's ever a hurdle or a speed bump that you'll run into?
Who knows? I just really have no clue. I couldn't even possibly predict, because you just never know where the road's going to take you. And some rap sucks. Brad, sorry, had to answer the chat. Some rap sucks. There's some out there that's not bad. I mean, Dual Wheel and T-Tech put out some pretty good jams.
Well, it's an ever evolving thing, because unlike any other type of music, rap is, especially urban, is heavily influenced by what's going on. So,
well, music's always contextual, though. It's a reflection of the time you live in. I just wish I didn't live in the time I live in. That's the reason I sing lounge and blues and stuff.
So you'd rather be one of the Andrews of the Lemon Sisters?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being, doing club shows and stuff like that back in the day, where it was all pretty dresses and, dancing and things.
I think I would have been cool if it would have been back in the 40s and doing their version of karaoke. on a USO
Yeah.
stage. If there's any decade that you epitomize as the best in music, what would you say it would be?
Say that again.
If there's any decade of music that you favor the most, what decade would you say? You know, to basically beat the anachronism of being out of the right time.
Oh, for singing, it's definitely the 30s and 40s. I like the despair and the range of emotion, you know, the joy after the war, and, you know, the other things, you know, where they could focus on love and romance and things that were, you know, fun to hang out and do, as opposed to songs like now that are really heavily politicized, and like that, what is his name? This little black kid raps, and it was just all, you know, racist symbolism and stuff in his video, and I was like, God, this isn't any fun to watch. What the crap? This is supposed to be entertaining. Who are you trying to entertain?
Yeah, when people are like, well, this is going on in my hood, I could understand when NWA did it 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't understand it now because it seems to be derisive and dividing.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, music's supposed to bring people together, not split people apart. You know, we share our cultures and they mix together. I mean, the stuff I sing is based on jazz, which was primarily an African-American art form for a long time. And, you know, white people just kind of walked in and did their own thing with it, just like they're doing with rap. It evolved, and the cultures twist together. You can't be mad about it. It's just, it is what it is. That's how cultural exchange works.
Well, and they've talked a lot about how, you know, Elvis stole the black man's music. Well, you know what? If he wouldn't have done it, it wouldn't have opened more eyes to go back and find out where that evolved from.
Yeah. I mean, it's like with a parody song. When you listen to a parody song and you haven't heard the original, don't you go back and listen to the original?
I would think you would.
You know, you go back and you think, okay, where did this come from? I want to know the history of this. And then it takes you down a rabbit hole to a whole other thing. And I think that's part of what music is for. It's to time travel. It's to give you new experiences. It's to take you places and feel things you don't usually feel or see. And, you know, so this is why I prefer it to be entertaining. I don't mind the dark stuff now and then, you know, the moody kind of man, life sucks music, because sometimes you feel that way. But even that can be entertaining sometimes.
Yeah, and with how people are talking about how music is becoming repetitive, and you know, sampling is a common day thing now in modern music, especially urban music. Mm-hmm. It's not bad for that sampling to happen, so people can go back and listen to the original tracks, and maybe might find some information and some inspiration in the simplicity that's being presented. I know I played the 15-minute version of Rapper's Delight from Sugar Hill Gang. Mm-hmm. And that was a straight lift. The track was a lift from the song Good Times. Mm-hmm. And that didn't diminish the ability for somebody to go, okay, well, this is the definitive version now. It's like, okay, where did they get that cut from? Where did they get that sample from? I really like that groove. I love that hook. Let's go back and check it out.
Right. And you know, in the 40s, every radio station or the big major three had singers of their own on their staff, and so if somebody did a version of a song, they could do their version of the song and it still be considered okay, and they could make money and move on. And so that's how these things evolve. People just, you know, 20 people do the same song and it sounds different every time you hear it, because, you know, they got the basic same, you know, rhythm and whatever, but everybody sings it a little differently because they come at it from a different place.
No. I can see that because, you know, music is just like humanity, constantly evolving. And
Yeah.
sometimes, it may be repetitious. A father looks like the son, looks like the grandfather.
Well, and repetition is also important in the current culture of indoctrination, because that runs on slogans and blurbs. And so, with the music being repetition, if they're trying to put out some kind of propaganda, that's what they're going to do. They're going to repeat and repeat and repeat and make it singable, make it, earwormish,
Well, no, I mean that the only really bad trend I see is these big corporations that take this music that is to me iconic. Like when I watch a car commercial and I see somebody play the Ramones over it, I think that's diluting the process. It's not inspiring anybody.
Well, and it's the aged out version. We used to call it elevator music when we were kids, but it's the songs that were popular when we were kids that we loved, that they play in the grocery store now while we're trying to shop for some fish sticks.
Yeah, we hear that nightly on IRS. But okay, let's go ahead. Let's pull out your pad, flip it open, give me your list of the music. This can be specific too, to band or artist that influenced you the most.
The Beatles, the early stuff, not the Love Me Do period, but the period between that and the hippie freak out that they had. I really loved, and I really loved the post-transcendental stuff like Abbey Road. There's something about the harmonies and the voice work in those that I really respect. Of course, the 80s was full of all kinds of cool experimentation. You had people like Devo and Talking Heads. I love David Byrne and his style. Look Into the Eyeball is my favorite album of his, and Little Creatures is my favorite Talking Heads album, and I love those. But and they influence how I do things. I always try to look at things from a different angle, like David does, and take the essence of an idea and cook it up into some other kind of dish that people still get that same feeling, but they go, wow, this is really a different take on this. And, I really like to push that.
Okay.
My dog's complaining. Go ask Daddy. Go on.
I was going to say, I thought I heard a puppy.
Yeah. He's my red heeler, Felix. He's particularly obnoxious at this time of day, especially if he knows I'm on, live streaming or something. He's like back in the day when Mom was on the phone, the kids would run around crazy.
Oh, yeah. Cats, dogs, and children do not understand. They have to have that attention when they need it right then, right now.
Yeah. I think these guys need to be fed. Let me give him a shout. Hold on.
And, of course, we're going to be running for just a little bit longer. So anyone in the chat that has questions, please feel free. Go ahead and ask. And we will take those questions live with Pinky.
They're still talking about drugs in the chat.
Yes. Holy God. That's, it is my curse yet my blessing that we have such a diverse and aesthetic audience. They are fascinating, and they definitely for me make this worthwhile, because I will get those odd and occasional questions which are just like, yeah, why didn't I ask that? Aren't I supposed to be somebody who's done these type of interviews for like 2 decades? Yeah, I'm not going to ask pill questions. So now, as far as it goes with music, do you see anything as a bad trend? Is there anything that you would think that we need to avoid or stay away from?
political music. I think that once you cross that line, you take away the artistry in it. When it becomes a weapon to bludgeon other people with, it's wrong, and it's bad use. It's not meant for that.
I honestly can't disagree, because I really liked Green Day until the point when they became political. And I just didn't want to have anything to do with them after that.
Yeah. I mean, once you start, using it as a platform to push your personal agenda or the agenda you're indoctrinated into, like in Hollywood, then you're no longer entertaining to me. I can still watch your movies and still enjoy the performance, but as a person, I don't want to look at you. I don't want to hear from you. I want you to dance like the paid monkey you are and get on with it. It's what I do. I just sing and try to be what I need to be. And I don't bother with the politics because, it'll change or it won't change. It won't matter either way what my opinion is.
All right. Jeremy saying, such a diverse audience. That's doc speak for we're all assholes. No, it is not. And you know it's not, JRB. Oh, no, because it's kind of nice. My whole thing is always having interviews with interesting people that do interesting things. And yeah, I'm not following any type of format, which, fortunately or unfortunately, doesn't get me the big views. I've had a lot of people say that I'm criminally undersubbed. That's a whole lot of I don't care, because we're able to have these type of conversations, and people who might not have known of your existence, might not have known of Gulf City's existence. Now they're tuned in, they're clued in, and they definitively can, if they so desire, go and check it out. I hate to sound hippie, but expand your consciousness. There's more than people out there berating other people for what their politics or affections are. There's actually real content out there. And in that vein, besides Gulf City, because we know your love, who else do you like to watch?
Well, I watch you mostly in the middle of the night. I like to watch listicles, where they give you top 5 reasons why you shouldn't eat this. Okay. I love stuff like that. I'll put on my game, my strategy games, and I'll sit and I'll play while it's blurbing off in the thing. I like creepypasta. And the thing that Sinatra is doing right now with Creeps In, I'm really digging it. I like, what is his name? Rob. He does creepy.
Rob Dyke just changed his name, and I forget what he changed it to.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Stranger Things, or whatever it was called that he first did.
Seriously Strange.
Yeah, Seriously Strange. I love that show. And I've watched several other people in the same genre as him, but I don't watch them now for one reason or another. I like to watch Ghost Poo podcasts because they're goofy fucks. And I like to watch history stuff. I do a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of those.
The Drunken Uncle is pretty hilarious.
He is.
And yeah,
I hate that they pick on the bear so much.
if you remind me when we get off air, I'll send you a couple links to the audio adaptations of the creepypastas they've done of my stuff.
Cool.
You may or may not like it, but at least it's very well produced. And I don't have anything to do with it besides writing it.
That's cool. I've seen Down a Rabbit Hole. And I liked Rhett and Link when they first started with their morning show. It's gotten kind of corporate now. I don't like it as much.
Yeah, but okay. Now this leads into another question. Let's say somebody whips out the checkbook and says, "Okay, Pinky, we like what you do. This is what we want you to do." Do you have any interest?
No, I would tell them no. I make art for me. I do what I want. You can have your money. Bye.
Yeah.
Now, if you're going to make a donation and make a request, then yeah, I'll do that. But corporate wise, no, I wouldn't sing for fucking suit monkeys. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's. I'll be honest with you. That is completely my defense when people are like, "Oh, you're criminally undersubbed." So
Yeah, I
people-
do what I want.
yeah, people out there are basically listening, and if they tune back in, that means that I'm doing something right. And I've always considered YouTube and content creators. Like, the content creator is the person driving the car. The people that they're interviewing, or essentially the subjects that they're covering are in the passenger seat with the map, helping to give the directions. And we've got a completely open back seat that we're picking up those audience hitchhikers to sit in the back and listen to the conversation and, chime in as well. I think it's important. And I don't know if I could personally handle it if I get, a couple of thousand, a couple of 100,000, if I can pay the proper attention to my chat that deserves that type of attention to be paid to them.
Yeah, I think it would skew my sense of self enough that it would make me into a jerk.
Really?
If I got famous, yeah, I think I would be an asshole if I would lose sight of the whole zen point of doing what I'm doing. And so, I just don't even want to, get involved in all that. And I don't mind doing a favor for a friend here and there and, writing stuff for other people once in a while, but I don't want to be tied down to a thing all the time.
Yeah, because, and I hope you'll back me up on this, artistry never has set parameters.
No, it is a fickle mistress. Sometimes it crashes through the front wall of your house, grabs you by the throat and says, "Give me a voice." And sometimes you got to struggle and push and pray. Okay, am I going to get inspired? And the best stuff happens when you're in the zone. You know what I mean? When you go into that place where you're one with the process, and then the best shit comes out and you're like, "Oh, did I really do that?" That's amazing. That is so cool. And I have those moments where I just go, yeah, that's good. I like it.
Okay, well, what was your latest moment of surprise and awe?
To be honest, every time they play one of my songs on somebody else's channel, I just go, I can't believe people like it this much. They want to spread it around. But, because I do stuff on AP Plays Criminal because I made that one for him. And there's Sparky's got one that I did. And, there are a number of people out there who play my stuff. Sylvanas plays my stuff late at night. She gives me a song spot in the middle and so she can take a break. And so, yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that are, for lack of a better word, paranoid about collabs. That I don't know when it happened. I don't know how it happened. But there's a lot of people out there that are saying that collaborative efforts are toxic now.
Well, look at the trend of how it goes, though. Look at Andy. Andy and Chris did their thing for a while, and it was funny. Their little movie was amazing. And then he switched to a partner, and it changed the way he handled everything. And then once you start making and breaking alliances, it becomes the island, and you got to stay up to the top of your game, or you're going to get booted off the island, and somebody else is going to take over your channel.
Well, sure.
And then, with the thing with like all the drama and the blood sports and all of that stuff, none of that was anything but clickbait. People rise and fall, love and hate, do those things, make alliances, as long as it benefits them. When it stops benefiting them, they stop doing it. And that's the deal. As far as like one-off collabs and stuff, my biggest problem isn't doing them. It's getting people to follow through on stuff they want to do with me in a timely manner. Now that can be tricky because I want to mention it to them, but I don't want to go, by the way, we were going to do this. Are we going to do this or not? Send me something. I'll send you tracks. What do you need? I want to facilitate this. And I have a hard time with that conversation.
I cannot disagree. I've had people are like, well, why don't you do, why don't you do like a duet or add a voice to something? And I'm just like, I don't really know that I'm your guy. I mean, I can do something, but I just think the hesitation is, and I hate to say this out loud, but I don't think my voice is going to get anybody anywhere. The only reason why I came onto YouTube was because I've been, housebound for 5 years, and it's something for me to do. So it's purely, and I'm not going to say I'm artistic in any way. I might be autistic, but
I think there's a fine line.
Yeah, there's a thin line out there, especially now on the YouTubes. But I think you're doing it the right way, not as if you ever needed my approval. You're doing it because you like it, because you're inspired to do it.
Yeah, and when it stops being fun, I'll stop doing it. That's just how it works around here. When I stop enjoying it, or other people stop enjoying it, all they have to do is wave the flag and say, okay, we're done. It was fun. Let's ride another ride now. I'm down.
And fandoms come and go.
Yeah. It's as fickle as creativity is. 1 minute you're on top of the world and everyone loves you, and the next minute you're sweeping the streets again,
By the way, you're getting complimented by Call of Krill saying that Pinky got the I'm a Krill American song done really quick, and that was a collab.
Yes, it was. And it went together really quick, like the news clips I do sometimes, because I can call on certain people and go, hey, do you have a minute to do this? This is what I need. And they'll do it right then, or they'll do it within the 24-hour period right after that, and I can get it done in a hurry. I like to work fast, and because I get bored easy, and I will lose my groove on a thing if I'm with it too much. And so I like to work fast, hit it hard, and go for it, because I don't want it to lose its power.
Well, that kind of falls back to your military upbringing. Clean the plate, get it off the table.
Strike first, strike hard. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and I mean, I really like what you do. I really like how you do it. Like I said, it took me a little while to get into the fold, but I think it was just the fact that I was not in the groove as to what you were doing, because when Krill Radio hit, there was kind of a diverse mix. And it was tough for me to go from a rap song to a torch song.
Yeah.
I guess it's just because I'm old. But I'm still okay with that. I tell you what, in the expansion of what you'll be doing in the future, can you give me 3 songs that you've been dying to do, or that you're going to do, or that you're in the works doing currently?
Well, let's see. I am doing a 90s show at the end of the month. Now, the 90s, I was in hibernation. That's the period I was Christian. I was teaching school and doing the mom thing. And so, and then there was that crazy period after the divorce, like there always is. And I did weird stuff and didn't pay attention to the radio. And so, there's a lot of music I missed. And so I'm going to be doing some 90s songs coming up in the next show. And I think it'll be fun. Britney Spears. It'll be the first time I've ever sung a Britney Spears song. So it'll be interesting to see how that turned out.
People used to ply me with alcohol to sing Hit Me Baby One More Time. So yeah, I understand.
I bet that was great.
Yeah, the 90s are dicey.
Yeah. I kind of feel the same way about Lady Gaga and Katy Perry now, though. I look at them and go, God, you guys are kind of hacky.
Kadant. Always when I'm like, well, what song do you want for a lead in? And she's like, well, I really like Ariana Grande. I've been listening to her a lot. And I'm like, oh my God.
Really?
That's just pablum, you know? That's really bad corporate music. She's like, yeah, but you can dance to it. And I'm like, all right.
I don't dance. I don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
I'm a fish.
I don't dance much at all. Jolly Rogers Bilgewater says, I demand a Pinky Doc duet of My Eyes from Dr. Horrible. Are you familiar with Dr. Horrible?
Yes, but it's been a really long time. A really long time. I couldn't even remember any of the songs. But yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
I'll be honest with you. I don't even know how we would do something like that. But
well, how we've done things like that in the past is we settle on the same track, and then you have a copy and I have a copy, and you sing your part and I sing my part, and then I cut it together. And that's usually the fastest way to go with that kind of thing.
See, I don't even know if there's a karaoke version of Dr. Horrible running around out there.
There may not be. And that's one of my big problems of not being able to do every request I get is I cannot simply find the music for it. Now, if someone makes a song and brings it to me, you know, I'm totally down to do that. But I don't play. So, you know, I'd need to find music or beg for music. And the crazy thing is the last couple of original songs I did for the Whale Gang were based on YouTube's free music selection.
Uh-huh.
You know, the stuff you can use in your videos without getting demonetized. And I just write over those. I mean, Gull City Blues was like that. It just was a blues riff I picked out of the YouTube bin and just rolled on it.
Oh, crap. It does exist.
What?
My Eyes. It does exist in a karaoke. Now, I will say this, since we're on air, we're getting ready to close it out, but I will say this. If you would like to join us anytime, we're trying to do karaoke shows like once a season.
Uh-huh.
We use My Circle, which, of course, you know is a hit or miss. Everything is live, but you're more than welcome. I'd be happy to invite you if you want to stop around and do some songs.
I'll think about it. You know, I don't like to sing live, so.
That's the reason why I preface
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but yeah, I'll think about it. Maybe I'll come and hang out and sing karaoke with you.
Yeah, and we're really, really bad at it too. It's awesome. We had, what was it? It was me and Hey Man Nice Shot and Water Jabbers singing Backstreet's Back.
I bet that was great.
Oh, it was a complete and total horror show. But good God, we were having a good time. Yeah, and that's my premise for karaoke is just making a joyful noise.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you know, you got to let it out because that stuff. Oh, thank you, Jack. That stuff is shit. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Well, it happens. I tell you what. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I know there's a bunch of you in the chat. You know it's Pinky's birthday tomorrow, so let's fill that chat up with some happy birthdays, shall we? And I wanna pick a song to go out on. Is there anything that you would like to promote before we get into the wrap?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I don't even remember what's recent. I've been working on new stuff. So,
did you do a version of Patsy Cline?
no, it's in my list of things to do, but I haven't got to her yet.
Which Sweet Dreams is this?
That would be Eurythmics.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, those two are definitively different songs.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, before I do all the spiel and stuff, I'd like to do one more song if we can. Would you mind with a recommendation?
No, I don't mind. And Sweet Dreams is as good as any other song I've got. So, thanks for surviving another year. Great. Thanks, Jolly.
You know, Jolly is a sentimentalist.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah. Well, wow, that's only 2:20. Is that
You
how
need a
long the
longer
song is?
Huh?
Is that how long the song is?
No, because their version of it has a lot more dead air, a lot more music in between the singing parts, and so
Okay.
nice, Victor.
I'm almost curious with the Judith, the dual wheel
Play
mix. Yeah, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead. It's
I'm
fun.
very curious. Okay, let's hit this. And after this, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got any final questions, we'll ask them, but we'll get into the wrap up after this version of Judith by Pinky Salmon.
Oh, yeah. Your sunshine, inspiration for the ways that I will never ever choose to breathe. Oh, so many ways for you to show you how your Savior has abandoned you. Your Lord and your Christ took all that you had and left you this way. Still you pray, you never stray. You never thought to question why. It's not like you killed someone. It's not like you draw a hateful spirit to his side. Praise the one who left you broken down and paralyzed. He did it all for you. For you. He did it all for you. Oh, so many ways for me to show you how your dogma has abandoned you. To your grace, to your God, I never taste on the throne, never stray, never
is.
break, never
Oh,
choke
this is
on
the
the line. Even though he's the one who did best to you, you never thought to question why. It's not like you killed someone. It's not like you drove a hateful spirit to his side. Talk to Jesus Christ as if he knows the reason why. He did it all for you. For you. For you. For you. He did it all for you. Oh, yeah.
I'll come in with my DJ voice. Ready?
Okay.
Hey, that was Pinky Salmon doing Judith, the dual-wheel mix. Yeah, that's as good as I get. Sorry.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that we talk about a lot is an acronym I came up with called Flexing Your PEC. And PEC stands for passion, effort, and commitment. For those who are listening in the audience, how would you like to apply that to what you do on the YouTubes, to what you do as far as making a joyful noise?
You know, doing what I'm doing, I don't really know. Because I'm kind of a fly by the seat of your pants kind of person these days, and so I just roll.
Yeah.
Whatever shows up. I'll watch a new show and something will inspire me, and I'll do a song for that, or I'll make memes, or, ask Ghastly. I fill up his Twitter with all kinds of interesting garbage.
Well, I think you certainly show the passion of what you love. It's definitively statable that you are making the effort to do what you do, and it definitely is showing that you're committed to getting that out there. To I guess, for lack of a better term, in pursuit of your happiness.
Yeah. And spreading the love. I mean, I enjoy doing it. Maybe somebody else enjoys it, because we're not that different. You know what I mean? Everybody on the planet has somebody that likes the same crap and eats the same food and lives the same kind of life that they do. And if we don't ever connect with each other, where's the joy in the internet?
Well, I would say that I could not phrase it any better. Now, since we are winding, we're going to do our closeout here. We've been certainly appreciative of your time. What's the one thing that you would like to leave to not only the Gulf City fans, but the people that really enjoy what you do?
Thank you. I love you guys. You make my life a little bit better every time I put something out. Thank you. And keep those requests coming. And watch Gulf City cartoons.
Well, except for Jolly Roger's Build Water, you should probably block him.
I like Jolly. I ain't worried about him.
That boy keep coming up with crazy stuff. So it leaves us to go ahead and let's go ahead and do the wrap quick. If you like what Pinky does, if you like what you've listened to tonight, please feel free to follow her on Twitter. Go ahead and sub to her on the YouTubes. She does have a PayPal down there, in case you like to throw a couple ducats. There's also a Gab, and of course the very evil satanic Discord. Also, if you like what I do and you'd like to be supportive, definitely check me out on Der Twatters. I'm not going to explain any of the pictures that come up there. They're just there. Context. Yeah, if you miss the IRS, you're missing a lot. I do also have a Streamlabs in case you want to throw something my way. It's always appreciative. I do have a Patreon as well that helps keep me in liquor. That is where my booze budget comes from. So become one of the enablers and join my Patreon. Of course, we do also have the DocGriffon TeePublic store, which not only features Doctor On Call merchandise, it also features Insomnia Ramble Stream, and of course the finest in bootleg Medicare merchandise. Below that is the prescription for additional entertainment. These are people that I like. Give them a chance. Give them a listen. See if you don't agree. And if you don't, you get your money back. But then again, you didn't pay anything, so yeah, there you go. Suffer. Coming up for the rest of May, next week, we'll be talking to a person who went from frog to prince, and that is Adonis Paul. On the 21st, we'll be talking to horror author C.K. Walker. You may know her as one of the Emmy-nominated writers for The Haunting of Hill House. And then finishing up the month, we'll be talking to the voice, the official voice of Court TV, Mr. Steve Taylor. And we got some others booked in June, but you're just going to have to wait for that. We've got a great lineup. And I'd like to thank Pinky Salmon for kicking off May in a great way. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
Very welcome. It was a good time.
And once again, no diagnosis needed here. I think the patient is completely fit and healthy. And so from all of us here at Dr. On Call, and for all of you in the chat, thank you. And of course, the only thing left to say is the doctor's office is now closed. Good night.